Okay, so, uh, when we think inheritances, we usually picture what, like some trust fund kid suddenly rolling in dough because, well, grandma finally kicked the bucket.
Right, right.
But what happens when, and this is where it gets kind of wild, what if there are no kids in the picture at all?
Yeah.
We're diving into that today.
Yeah.
We found some articles about this whole thing, and I got to say, the trends are, no, they're not what you'd expect.
It's a huge shift, no doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
more and more adults, they're just like opting out of the whole parenthood thing and the ripple effects, especially when you think about money, generations of it. Wow, it's pretty massive.
Yeah, one article even threw out this stat, like 20% of millennials, they're childless. That's wild to me. We're talking a huge chunk of the population who, yeah, they're probably not thinking about, passing down the family silver anytime soon.
Mhm.
So for our listener, and we know you guys like to be ahead of the game, what's the big takeaway here? What does this even mean?
Okay, so big picture, that whole classic image of inheritance, the one where it's all like straight to the kids, grandkids, all that, it's changing fast. Baby boomers, they're sitting on trillions, literally trillions, and as they age, well, that money's got to go somewhere. And a lot of times, it's not going where you'd think.
So like, who's cashing in? We're talking like third cousins twice removed. Or wait, maybe the family pet becomes a millionaire?
Ha, hey, stranger things have happened. But seriously, think charities. Those are often named as beneficiaries. And yeah, you might get a call one day that your, great aunt's teapot collection is now all yours. But here's the real kicker, the thing that no one's really prepared for. It's the lack of wills.
The articles did mention that.
Yeah.
Is it really like that big of a deal? Don't things just get like divided up automatically?
That's a common misconception. AARP did a study, and get this, only about half, HALF, of folks over 50 who don't have kids, they have a will. Dying without one, it's called, like a dying intestate, and it's a mess. Basically, the state, they get to play inheritance bingo, and let me tell you, their idea of fair might not be what you had in mind. We're talking years, sometimes decades of legal battles, families torn apart. It's rough.
Okay, yeah, that's a little more intense than I was picturing. Makes you want to call your lawyer right now, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, in your notes, you had this whole point about like inheritance expectations playing into, wait for it, healthcare choices. That's kind of dark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's complex. So researchers, they're starting to see this pattern where people, if they think a big inheritance is coming their way, they might postpone or even skip expensive medical treatments.
Yikes.
It's like they're betting on that future money to cover them, which, well, that's a huge gamble.
Whoa. Talk about high stakes, right? That makes you think, doesn't it, about
Yeah, right.
how money, family, even our health, it's all tangled up. But okay, let's shift gears a bit on a slightly lighter note. So reading through everything, all this talk about like generational wealth and where it's going, it got me thinking about something else you mentioned. The companies, the actual businesses that are in a prime spot to benefit from all this change.
Yeah.
Could you call them?
Yeah, so it's not all doom and gloom and lawyers, right? This shift in how money's passed down, it's shaking up the stock market too. Based on what you sent over, there are definitely companies out there who are, shall we say, strategically positioned to benefit. Spending habits are changing, and these companies, they get it.
Exactly. Okay, so think of this as a bonus round for our listeners, a peek behind the curtain of like what might be the next big thing. Lay it on us. Who should we be watching?
All right, so one that immediately comes to mind is the trade desk. With the way, like, streaming services and online ads are blowing up, they're in a really interesting position, poised for some serious growth, I think.
Yeah, targeted ads seem like, well, that's just the future, isn't it? So what makes the trade desk like stand out from everyone else?
So their platform, it's next level. Advertisers can get super granular, super precise with who sees their stuff. Plus, they've got this like history, this track record of constantly innovating. It's impressive.
Okay, yeah, they're going on my watch list for sure. Who else you got?
Lululemon's another one that's worth keeping an eye on. They're facing more competition these days, for sure. The whole athletic wear scene it's getting crowded, but their focus, it's always on quality and their customer base. They're loyal, like ride or die. That should help them, navigate whatever's ahead.
Yeah, I swear people wear that logo like a badge of honor. It's wild. Okay, who else? This is good stuff.
Well, we can't talk about, winners and all that without mentioning Spotify. They've had some, shall we say, dramatic ups and downs, but they are, for better or worse, they're the kings of music streaming right now. And that's not going away anytime soon, right?
True, they're always in the headlines. Okay, last one. Any like underdog companies we should be watching?
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are like quietly climbing the ranks.
Mm-hmm. Keep